Okay. Oh, waiting for it. There we go. So here's the deal. You have 7 weeks left. A week from tomorrow, you have your Unit 4 exam. After that, you've got one more unit exam that's taking place before the end of the year. So that means 2 out of 5 of your unit exams are still happening as well as the final. There is a lot of chance left for you to prove to me, okay, that you can handle this course and what you should move on to in grade 10. You should have heard this before. And in fact, I think I've said it before, but I hope you realize how big of a year is in grade 9. In grade 9, that determines what you get streamed into in grade 10. So as an example, grade 9 streams into 2 courses, Science 14 and Science 10. Okay, so again, it streams into 2 courses, Science 14 and Science 10. Science 14 is a course that is the bare minimum to graduate. Not that it's a horrible course. For some people, it's what they should take, okay? But you need to realize that with Science 14, you cannot go to post-secondary unless you take a long road of upgrading. Science 14 and Science 24 are not accepted by almost all post-secondary institutions for almost every program. So if you're looking at going into university or you want to go to college for a trade, they will not accept that. It's not something that they will take. That doesn't mean that you can't make it into post-secondary, but what it does mean is you have a much harder road. Okay, so instead of just going directly into Science 10 and then other sciences, and this is just one example, that is just science, okay? Instead of going directly into Science 10 and other courses, instead, you will have to go through Science 14, 24, and then upgrade to Science 10, and so on. And that would include being out of high school and paying for courses. So you're left with a choice right now. You're left with a choice to either put in work over the next 7 weeks, 7 weeks, or to give yourself a very hard road for many, many years, more than 3. So you've got 2 paths in front of you right now for many of you. And I'll be honest, your teachers have already given recommendations to your future schools of what courses you should go into. We've already sent that off. But it's only an email from being changed. So if people show growth over the next 7 weeks, they show that they can do it, then that can be changed. Because the biggest thing that separates the people that I recommend for Science 10 versus Science 14 is work ethic. If they put in the work to do well. Because if you put in the work, you can do Science 10. That is the biggest difference. I'll be straight up with you. If you do not put in the work, then I cannot recommend you for Science 10. It just cannot happen. So if you're kind of like, oh, well, I'm probably going to take the hard road, I'm going to ask you, what's going to be different next year? What's going to be different in high school that is not different now for you? And I'll tell you what's going to be different. You're going to be more established in your routines of slacking off. You're going to be, you guys know, like when in a grass field, you have a path where people keep on walking the same path, and then over time, it gets more and more away into a rut. When you continue walking on that same rut path, it gets deeper and deeper and more entrenched, and it gets harder to get away from. So I'll tell you what's going to be different in a few years. It's going to be even harder than it is now. So ask yourself, what's going to change for me? Now, for some of you, maybe you're thinking, yeah, actually, my mental health right now is really rough. I'm going through a tough time. Yeah, I get that. Okay. And that is actually a pretty valid reason if that is a season, but seasons end. Seasons are over at the end of the season, and then you get onto a better season. But if this is no longer a season for you, if this is an entrenched path, then you need to actually reflect and think, what am I doing here? And am I just making things worse over and over and over again, making that path that I'm walking deeper and deeper and harder to get out of. And if that is the case, you need to make a change now. You've got 7 weeks left, 7 weeks left that can actually change your trajectory and your path for the next forever years. Because let's be honest with ourselves that once we get into high school, things probably don't change. They're probably the same because you've already been walking that same path. It is easier to change now. It is easier to do it in the 7 weeks to make that change than to wait for high school and think that things are going to change after you're already enrolled in the lower stream classes. Some of you are very smart, you are very capable, but you're not putting in the work. And you're setting yourself up for such a hard path. And it's just tough to see. I also want you to realize, and I know, big rant here, that your teachers bug you to get to work, to get things done, because we want to see you have success. Let me tell you this, it is so much easier for me to sit back and not bug you. It's so much easier for me to not send messages, to not remind you about assignments that haven't been completed, to not send emails to your parents. That's effort. It takes time. It takes time away from my life, away from my family. And I don't want to get you up because I love doing it. I love seeing kids change. But I do want you to realize that it takes time. And the teachers that are around you with, like right now, the teachers you have love to see students succeed. You have fantastic teachers. And they are motivated most. The reason why they do this job is because we like to see students succeed. It's just a fact. Okay. We get so excited when we see somebody turn around, when we start seeing them get success, and we message each other like crazy for every success story that we have. Do we get paid more? No, we don't. We don't get paid based on performance. But it's the reason why we do this job and the reason why we love it. But that's about me. Some of you need to really put some reflection into what you might want to do in the future. I hear over and over and over again things like, I want to be a Twitch streamer, or I want to be a YouTube star. And I know that you see these people and think, wow, they're making massive money really easily. There's a few things. Number one, I want you to realize that those people got in at the ground floor of these platforms. They are well established, and they put in a lot of time and effort to get there. Ton. If you want to actually take a look at somebody who is a Twitch streamer who put in a lot of work and realize the path that they went through, Distinguished Toast, a Canadian Twitch streamer, has YouTube videos that talk about the path, the money he makes, the money Twitch takes away from him, and what it's like, and the work he puts in. It is not easy. And in fact, it's incredibly rare to make it. I would like you at some point, if that is your dream, if that is your goal, to please open up a game on Twitch and scroll down and keep on scrolling and count the number of people trying to be streamers. It's huge. And when you look at how many people are watching, it's one or two. And that person is probably their mom. I'm not saying this to crush your dream. I'm saying this to be realistic with you, that you need a backup. And if you can't put work into school, why do you think that you can put work into that? Because it's not easy. Okay. In fact, nothing in life in terms of getting success is typically easy. It all takes hard work. It all takes grit and determination. And you show that every day in what you do. The last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm done with this rant, is that people, this is going to be a little bit brutal. You need to think about the impression you make on people. Every single interaction you have with someone is a piece of you, because that's where you exist, is in other people's memories. Yeah. that the people you interact with every single day, that leaves a memory and impression with that person. That is part of your legacy. Everything that you sign your name to is a part of your legacy. It's a part of you. Everything you do in this life that is remembered by someone is a piece of you. It is a product that you have made. So I want you to start changing the way you think about the work you do and the things you do to be instead a reflection of who you are, or better yet, a reflection of who you want to be. Because by having those actions of doing things that are going to be a reflection of who you want to be, that's how you become that person. By putting in the work now, by having that grit and determination now, instead of thinking that it's going to happen tomorrow. It happens one step at a time. So I ask that you love yourself enough to invest in yourself now. Yeah, over the next 7 weeks. Love yourself enough to actually just do something nice for yourself and for your future. And think about the people you love and what you do for them. Now, maybe do some of that stuff for yourself. Because some of you treat yourself like crap. Yeah, in the work you do, in the self talk you have, in the way you treat yourself in your habits, and the way you treat yourself in the work you do not treat yourself well. So I'm going to ask that you try to turn that around for your own good and for your own sake. 7 weeks. It's 7 weeks. That's it. And it can make such an easier road for you. So much easier. So look at that field and the entrenched path that you've been walking down, and look at the fresh grass beside it. There's a shortcut there. There's a direct route to an easier road. Maybe walk on the grass for once instead of walking in that rut of a path. Okay? Walk on the grass. That's the rant. Here's the lesson for today. And I'll stop recording because I don't need to have the lesson for today in this rant.